Hello, beautiful people. Uh, wow, I received so much love from so many people for the first video that I made that I'm actually like super excited to make like a lot more of these. Uh, Today's a bit of a cloudy day over here, so I don't really know about this video quality, but I'm still excited to make this. So today I am going to be talking about why school has damaged you, or rather, how it has damaged you, and why it is your responsibility to undo the damage. So, well, to some of you who already know that schools are essentially institutions of propaganda, well, I guess I don't have to like explain more on that. But to the others, well, I'm not really going into that topic in this particular video, but I'm going to talk about some other things, which is that first of all, school has damaged you in like many different ways. The first thing is one of the things that they do is like drive in this whole idea of obedience to authority. And the way they do this, for example, is by putting a whole lot of children of, say, a certain age category in one space. Like, say, for example, all 8-year-old kids will be packaged with all other 8-year-old kids. And then there is this one authority figure, who stands in front of the blackboard or something like that. And yeah, they get to tell you anything. And then you don't really have the option to challenge them. Right. And we since we are kind of sucked into this system from the very beginning of our lives, we kind of assume that this is something very normal and natural. But there's actually nothing really normal and natural about this. Because imagine you were born in a tribe and say in some Amazon jungle or in any form of a tribe, what you would experience is the children who are born, they get to interact with all the members of the tribe. They get to interact with the old people, the grandmoms and the granddads, and the middle-aged people. It's like people of their parents age groups. And also when they are interacting with other kids, they are not just interacting with kids of their own age. They are interacting with kids of all ages. Like they would be hanging out with like children who are like really small. They would be hanging out with like teenagers. They would be hanging out with people who are like 5 6 years elder to them, like all different age categories, right? And now what happens is when you go and meet an adult who is say grumpy, or they're not like who's not in a good mood, like you don't have to be with that person. Like you can be like, screw that, it's like, and then you go somewhere else. But when you're in school, this option does not really exist for you. And yeah, unfortunately, this is what we pass out as being normal, which is that as a small child, you are put in a position where you literally have to like raise your hand and be like, teacher, I need to go pee. And this adult will then decide whether you have the permission to go pee or not. Right? Like even dogs don't have to do that. The dogs can just go pee. And even if you get a puppy in your house, like yeah, actually if you're in a city, that's really bad for your dog as well, and for you too. That's a topic for a different video. But coming back to school, yeah, that's really absurd, that we are taught that some adult can have this level of authority over you. So that's the first thing that's really messed up about school, which is driving this idea of obedience to authority into your brain for 12 to 16 years, and in some cases, even longer. The second thing that schools do, which is like really toxic actually, is driving this idea in your brain that you're somehow supposed to be competing with your peers. Right. Like they teach you that there is like 40, 50 students in a class, and there is some sort of a ranking system that okay, we have this exams, and then you are supposed to like memorize that stuff. And yeah, and then you are sort of competing with your peers, because there's only one first ranker in the class, and then there's like maths, physics, chemistry, this and that, and all of that kind of stuff. And this, like, most people don't really understand how toxic this idea is, and how detrimental it is to your life. Because truly, it is when you actually start collaborating with people that you start to enjoy the beauty of life. And in the last video, I spoke about how this book, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace D. Wattles, deeply impacted my life. Well, in this also, one of the core principles that he talks about is to move out of the competitive headspace and move into the creative headspace. And yeah, this is something that is like the opposite of this is kind of what is done in schools, where they really drill down this idea of like competition in your brain. And yeah, unfortunately, when people come out of this, they kind of carry forward this mindset, whether they're in office or whatever they're doing in life, you know. It's like it takes you a few steps to undo this damage, and then figure out that, hey, first of all, to figure out that it's far better for me to like collaborate with people and create things of value. But even after you realize that, like, it takes quite a bit of effort to actually implement that, because you need to understand you have already been through 16 years of propaganda where they have been drilling this core concept into your brain to compete with your fellow beings. So this is the second really toxic thing that is drilled into your brain through school. The third one is this whole idea that you need to be progressing all the time. Like you go from first class to second class and third and fourth and fifth, and like you always have to keep consuming like new content. Like somehow it's like this really shameful thing if you were to consume the same content again. Like if you failed sixth standard and then now you're repeating sixth standard, it's like this huge trauma in your life, you know. It's like, oh my god, you know, it's like freaking failed sixth standard. Now your parents can't show their faces to their relatives, and you cannot show your face to like people around you, and just all of that stuff. Now some of you might be wondering that, you know, hey, what the hell is wrong with that? Well, the thing is, what I have realized in my life is you don't really need so much information in order to succeed in life. You just need some really, really good quality stuff. And once you find it, what you really need to do is go over that information like as many times as you need to in order to like deeply integrate that information into your brain. To give you an example, uh, as I was telling you yesterday, like for me, during my engineering, I was mostly just playing video games. But when I did find some books, which was not my course books, but like The Science of Getting Rich, Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, like some really good books. But say, for example, The Science of Getting Rich. I must have read this book at least 100 times, and I must have heard this audiobook also at least 100 times. Now, you see how different this is from what we're kind of going through in school. It's like you take one information, something with respect to like geography or something with respect to whatever, you know, mathematics or something, and then as soon as like you've done it like once, you're like, okay, cool, I'm done. Now I move ahead. But now here's the thing: when I come across something like The Science of Getting Rich, the whole point of this is not like Harry Potter. I'm not reading it to just entertain myself in life. The point of this book is basically for me to take the principles that the author is talking about and deeply integrate these principles into my life. And it takes time to integrate these principles into your life. And which is where, as I was going through this information like multiple times, like that is how like I was able to like deeply comprehend this stuff and then change my life, right? And so yeah, this is the third really toxic thing that the education system puts into your brain, which is to keep consuming like new content and then going over stuff. Because truly, if you find something that you think is like amazing, whatever it is, use it multiple times, like get deep into that, like integrate that stuff with your life. That is the only way transformation is going to happen, right? So yeah, these are three things for now. uh I think for now that's about it. See you guys. Peace.